Looks good there.
All right, man. I love you. I love your shirt,
Oh, thanks, dude.
man. You
How's
guys,
life, man?
it's good. It's good. You guys do such cool stuff with your brand. Every time I see it, I'm like attracted to it.
Nice, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Man,
Yeah.
look at all the art on the back. Is that your house or the gym?
This is my studio at home,
Okay,
but
nice, man.
I'm gonna be moving some of this to the gym. Did I send you a video of my gym studio?
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. You saw me a picture, I think,
Yes.
or maybe a video.
There's a little clip I took of before I had the floors done, I think, or as they were getting done. So I moved in there a little bit, probably about 75% moved in over the weekend. We're building a custom table. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Oh, heck yeah, dude. That's awesome.
cool, man.
Super cool.
Yeah,
How's that new gym, man? Like, I saw you're about to open right before everything started, right?
we got 2 weeks in, man. 2 weeks. We were just about to start a new schedule. We had
Uh-huh.
1 week left, and we were going to start like a new schedule, more yoga, hot yoga, and that's when we got closed down, man.
Sucks, dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
this thing is crazy, man.
yeah, it is, man. How have you guys been adjusting?
Well, for us, it's kind of. I mean, I'm sure it's the same way at your school. Like most of my students, they're like, we're gonna continue paying. Like try not to um let us go under and stuff. But it's scary, man. Like they paid um like basically we took half of the month from previous month, right? And that was paid, and we didn't have any classes. And then now the whole month of April, they haven't had any classes, and who knows how's it gonna go. And I mean, they still paid. I think I have we got the new membership renewal coming up, and yeah, I don't know, man. We're kind of as a plan as an association plan. We're going with a Triton Fight Center with Pete. Whatever he ultimately he's gonna be, he's the head of the association, so we just kind of follow through. We all been talking about it and see how things are going. We have a plan, but it's to this point we don't know still.
Man, or you guys have, do you have any projected reopening dates in Oklahoma whatsoever?
No, man, it's so the last time we heard was May 1st. That's the I think they call it safe at home, whatever. I don't know if they're changing that or if they're not. I mean, just basically we're waiting for, Oklahoma is ready to reopen on phase one, whatever President Trump put the guidelines in there. So we do have a plan. If we get open in phase one, we have a plan. If we open on phase two, it'll be a little bit easier. So our plan is gonna be a little bit more open, and then, I mean, Oklahoma is not as bad as other states. Tulsa is better than Oklahoma City. So we kind of waiting to see where we at, and then from there we can decide. But yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's things that you never think was gonna happen, right? It's like,
I
wow.
know, man, and you don't think about these types of things, and I mean, I think that's what we can learn from it, though, is just business owners is like, this is what they mean when they say plan for the worst.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, I
This is
mean,
insane.
everybody thinks, like, I think some sort of a disaster like a flood or fire or something like that is what, would befall you is a negative circumstance. But this is kind of definitely unforeseen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it's well, not funny, but like, since we in jiu-jitsu we have connections everywhere. Like we travel a lot for competition, so like I was aware about everything that was happening, because after everything that happened in China, I was, when the first couple of cases that started coming out on the news, that was in December, and I was in man, I was in Portugal when the first we heard the first cases for about to compete in the Europeans. And even when at that time, like it was January, it was European January, so it was in January. We were still listening about, this is happening, and people down there, like people from Japan, they were like, man, we hearing bad stuff at home, and it's not gonna be good, and so on. And the Olympics was about to happen, and we're like, okay, we knew about it. I remember I even posted something into the association page. Be like, hey, you know what? This is happening in Italy. This is happening in Japan. I talked to my friends. They closed out their schools. What happens if we get to us? And everybody makes fun of me on the chat. We're like, well, whatever. Do is like, even Pete may make like a joke about it. Like, well, if it happen, we die, something like that. Like, I mean, we never thought it was gonna be for real. But anyways, it was in the back of the mind. We know that it could. And man, when I got here, in Tulsa, I believe we closed about a week before it was on the news, like mandatory close down. Like we all agree it was best to close down, and so we kind of luckily we closed down early.
We closed down a couple of days before it was announced that gyms were supposed to close in Arkansas. And I think that May 1 is our projected phase 1 date in Arkansas, so we can start doing some limited classes. And I think what we're probably going to do with kids is like, man, Cora had 27 kids do a Zoom class yesterday. So we might do like a mixed class or something like that. But we're going to get one of those forehead scanners, the temperature thermometer, and just check everybody's temp at the door, clean, extensively, and just kind of follow some extra protocols. Right.
So I believe on phase 1 of President Trump on the gym, they're restricting still the 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
So although if the gym is open, they have some restrictions. So Pete posted yesterday like the guidelines that we're gonna be doing. So we're gonna start with conditioning, working out, keeping everybody 6 feet apart, and we're gonna start doing some self-defense for maybe phase 1 or 2 with one partner. So if you have a spouse or somebody that is in your same household, that will be your partner, and you have to stick with it. If you don't have a partner, then we can assign one person, and that's gonna be your consistent partner until we get to phase 3. And we're gonna do the working out portion, and then we're gonna do some self-defense portion, only one-on-one, so we don't get all the rolling, all the fun stuff yet. I believe phase 3 will allow rolling, but it will allow it with the cleaning afterwards. So we have to like immediately, maybe we have like a 30-minute, 40-minute class, and then we have to clean up, disinfect everything, and then go back to the next class. So yeah.
Do you guys do a lot of striking, Omar?
At my school, we don't. That's one of the things that I do. One self-defense class a month, every 2 months. It's not very often. Now and then I see the guys like tired, like physically tired, like. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna do some self-defense stuff where we don't get as tired. But we don't do like stand like Muay Thai or kickboxing and all that. We're focused 100% on Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, and that's like been, that's a route that we'll be able to take with kind of all age demographics on like the martial arts side of what we do. And then yoga and fitness kickboxing, we can adhere to a lot of those distancing standards, and just kind of like during kind of the first couple of phases is do a real striking heavy and fitness heavy approach.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're going to. We just call it self-defense instead of like Muay Thai or boxing,
Yeah, man, I've been doing everybody's been posting awesome workouts, and I've lifted some great shadow boxing workouts from people I follow.
Yeah, man, everybody got creative. Like I seen a lot of creative stuff. We do have we teach just like you, like Zoom classes, but we do it from the house. We set up some mats in the living room, and we could have gone to the gym and get it done there, but I don't want everybody to like miss it so much, and like we're on the same boat, So if you're at your house with no partner, sometimes I get my dummy out, Maria takes a break, and I'll teach you from the dummy. We're on the same situation kind of.
Yeah. Did you see what was it? Boogie Martinez.
Crazy. That stuff is crazy, man.
Yeah, it is. Because I filmed a video at the gym this morning with one of our
Right.
other assistant instructors, just like a solo stability ball workout.
Mhm.
And I mean, like that's essentially what that guy was doing when he got that ticket.
Right. Well, you know, you have to also take in consideration the like the difference. Like we're on states where like we're not as bad, and maybe nothing happened over there, but you know, there's little groups. You know, like that group was a group of four. Maybe like 2 blocks down the road, there's another group of four, and so on and so on. It just keeps spreading. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I thought it was insane when I heard he got a ticket. Like they were in civilian clothes and a band waiting outside for him. So they were
Yeah,
just waiting
that's
for him. So
wild.
someone snitched, and I believe California, if you snitch, you get like $1,000 or something. Like they pay you for snitching.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
No, I had my friend Jack Toffer. He's in LA.
Uh,
And he was on the podcast the other day, last week or something. And he didn't seem like, I mean, just talk, because I was joking around with him at the beginning of the podcast about, I'm like, man, I heard you get fined if you don't wear a mask and stuff around there. And he's like, man, I'm literally living almost life as normal. I mean, I take precautions. I stay like my distance away from people, but he said he hadn't seen anything crazy, and it's not like a total lockdown, like I'd been hearing. And I was
right.
like, oh, okay, well, cool. I'm doing another guy's going to be on the podcast from LA, so I'm going to kind of like touch base and see where they're
Touch.
at now.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, a lot of my students, they're like nurses, doctors, and stuff like that. So I'm always like contacting them. So in Tulsa, there is one of the main hospitals, and they had one patient on Saturday, and that was it. And they haven't had a patient since then. They didn't even know he was. I think they call it the hole, like where they COVID-19 possible patients, and that was the only one person. So maybe Tulsa is doing all right. There's so much going on, man. Like at the beginning, I was one of those guys that like stay home, stay home. You know, like I didn't let Mary Angel get out of the house for like a week. Like we were like completely strictly stay home, and then slowly we're kind of like going out a little bit more and kind of getting out there. Uh, but now I'm seeing an effect in the economy. Is like I'm seeing the numbers, right? Like I see like the petroleum thing that happened to yesterday. Oil drop, and when I start doing some research, it has to do a lot of has to do with a lot in Oklahoma. Apparently, there is the storage, like they're full, and it's costing people that making the drilling oil out. It's costing them like $40 a barrel. So we're actually going negative in that.
Yeah, I heard that.
So it could. I mean, all these people, they had big companies of petroleum companies in here. They have what 10,000 employees, those companies, and because of that, they might have to let some people go, and they maybe the people that stay, they're gonna have to like cut down their salaries. Like it is gonna get crazy. I think housing is gonna like that happened a few years ago, maybe like 10 years ago, where the housing went crazy. I think that's about to happen. So thinking now about risk and reward towards the thing, man, it might be a better option to like let the people that is vulnerable to, like, you know, those people have to work from home, maybe find a different way out. I don't know. This thing is, it can be very, very bad. It's getting worse. And no, not so much of the coronavirus. Coronavirus is real, it's deadly, but I think we're setting up other stuff that is gonna be even worse if we keep going this way.
It is the virus has created a lot of ripples in a lot of
Right.
different. Like, I mean, so I teach college, and in higher education, there is so much speculation right now about the future. Is higher ed going to need a bailout? Because like I teach at a community college, and like we do well, but everybody is concerned about funding.
Right.
Due to some of the economic ripple that's taking place. I mean, it's just a lot of unknowns.
Right. Oh yeah, it's crazy. That's I was talking to Marie Angel just a second ago about this. Like, in the media, if you go like say Facebook, there's gonna be nothing is happening. We should go back to a thing. 10,000 dead people coming out. So like, you don't know what to believe, where to, like, you don't know what's real, what's not real. Hospitals are full, and then you see the other ones with empty beds. So it's just speculation is crazy, and we don't really know where we at. Yeah, it is insane.
Yeah, I think I saw, Dale Cook, Apollo Cook. He
Right.
shared something yesterday or today. I can't remember that, but that said that Oklahoma didn't have any positives for like 2 days. Is that true?
Right. Yeah, that's what my student was telling me. I mean, they had one possible patient. They wasn't even confirmed it was COVID. They just had it there on the hall, the COVID hall, just waiting for result, but we didn't have any in Tulsa, at least.
Yeah, that's great. Just having 2 days because that was like his was a bar graph, and it showed like projected, and it had projected numbers, real numbers, and then it just showed it flattening out, which, hopefully that's what we experience. A lot of people are really worried about like a second wave coming. What do you think about that?
Man, I okay. One of my things is traveling. Okay, I'm gonna change the subject for 1 second. And since I couldn't travel, I've been doing a lot of go to Snapchat and like go look into like what China is doing, and like the post, like what people is actually like updating. Apparently there is some kind of new virus or something like that. Hada virus or something. I can't remember the name, but they're looking at, apparently like somebody died from it, and everybody's freaking out because there is one new different case. But I mean, I don't know if it's real or not, but that's what somebody posted on one of the Snapchats down there. So like people that live in China, they're worrying about something that is coming out new, and we don't know if it's real or not, but apparently there is maybe a mutation of it. We don't, it's just a speculation, I guess, but I saw it and I was like, oh shit, more coming, I guess, or different ways.
Yeah, I'm sure them being ground zero, there's a lot of paranoia and fear and speculation and hysteria. I'm sure tensions are running very high. So you're originally from Venezuela, right? Is that correct?
Right. That's where I was born. Yeah.
Have you been following how South American countries have been hit?
Some. I know I have most of my family migrated from Venezuela. I only have couple cousins living still there. Everybody is in either here in the U.S. or in Colombia. So in Colombia, they're home, basically same thing. Down South America is a little bit different how like people do stuff, but the police is very, like, if they see you out and you're not supposed to be in after hours, like they'll plank you with a piece of wood, like they actually like hit you and like make you run. I saw a couple of friends from Ecuador saying that like there were people, they were dead and like was waiting at home, mostly on the poor side. Like I posted a video of I think it was in Quito in Ecuador, where like you saw that one? Yeah, so like there is a full family waiting outside because grandma has passed away inside the house, and they have called the government or somebody to come pick up the body, and they haven't because they were full at the time. And they try to get the body out to the streets, and the whole neighborhood was against it. So they had to send the body back inside. So all the family did not get see it, had to be waiting outside. It's like some crazy stuff. And you see people like being burned, like the bodies burned outside on the streets because nobody has to go pick them up. So some places in South America are bad. In Venezuela, I haven't heard anything bad yet, to tell you the truth. The issue in Venezuela is we don't have we have two presidents. Okay, that's to start from there. So we have a dictatorship and we have a president that's trying to take over the other one. One of the presidents is in good terms with the U.S. So U.S. will help him. Will send him help if we need. The other presidents, like, we don't need anything from the United States. Completely U.S. opposite. So anything they try to go in, they'll either burn out or steal it, or so it's extreme confusion. Now, Venezuela has been limiting themselves for a long time. Okay, this toilet paper thing, it happened in Venezuela many years ago, where like people basically took over the supermarkets. They stole everything. There were shortage of toilet paper. So a lot of this stuff that we're seeing here is being a daily occurrence in Venezuela. It's not new. So I think on that aspect, they're more prepared than us because they've been living with that. But and they also like they're really short on money down there. So I guess they kind of used to, but I mean, there's definitely people suffering, especially the poor style towns. They're definitely suffering.
Yeah, man. So when and where did you grow up, and when did you move to Oklahoma?
So we got here. I'm not saying we, my mom and I. So my mom and I moved down to the U.S. in 2001. My mom were having these later conversations at the time. I don't know if the internet was, or maybe she wasn't too much on the internet side, but they had the Cosmopolitan magazine thing, and they had like basically like I consider a dating site now, somewhat. So my mom started sending letters to this guy here in Tulsa, and the guy told my mom, hey, come visit me. Let's actually meet up and stuff. So we came down to visit, and they hit it up, man. They started. So we moved down to the U.S. in 2001. I hated it. I was from the capital in Venezuela. So although it's like a poor, well, it's not poor. Venezuela is actually very rich. At the time was kind of having struggles with the whole president stuff. But when I got here, man, this cultural difference was insane. Like in Tulsa, there is not, unless you're on downtown, there is no sideway walks where you can walk around. I was used to like getting in the train and walking everywhere. Thousands of people walking on the street, kind of like New York. That's how Venezuela, or where I'm from, is. And I got to Tulsa where like, if you want to go from A to B, you have to have a car. There's no way. So when I got here, I hated it. So I bitched so much about it that we ended up moving to Atlanta. And when I got to Atlanta, it was the same way. I spent all my time working, and I never had any free time. I never met up with anybody. So we decided to come back to Tulsa. Omar, please go over there. Sorry, my son is. Hey, what did I just ask you? Okay, go. Hey, come here for a second. Say hi. Tomorrow's his birthday.
Hey, tomorrow's your birthday?
Yeah, he cannot hear. I got here.
Okay.
They say happy birthday. Say happy birthday. Go back to your room.
Birthday.
All right, bye. See ya.
You.
Go to your room. Sorry for interrupting, man. He does it on purpose. Like he sees that you're busy. He's like intentionally wants attention. So he's like, I'm gonna make noise so you can hear me out.
Yeah.
Anyways, man. So yeah, 2001 was the day. I actually was practicing jiu-jitsu in Venezuela
Really?
when we moved to the US. Yeah. I used to be under an alliance school under Francisco Salvador. I don't know if you heard of him. But he was the main guy that brought jiu-jitsu to Venezuela. He was a commentator for the UFC down there. So I saw a UFC show. I think it was a UFC 1. And at the end of the fight, I was like, oh crap. And then the guy was like, well, if you want to learn jiu-jitsu, I have my school here and here. And I was like, oh, the next day I just went and joined. Stayed there for like 6 months. And then my mom, that's when the whole moving portion happened. So I got to the US. There was only Apollo's Karate, and they taught karate. There was no other schools in town at the time that I could find. So I didn't train from 2001 till 2005 when I actually found Piet.
How did you end up linking up with Piet?
MySpace.
Nice.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he posted a picture of him with a broken nose, like all bleeding stuff. Like, oh, good training today. And I was like, I started looking into the thing and started like going one by one, putting the link together. Like tried to find center and say, I think at the time Piet was teaching. He had his own system of nogi, kind of. He's like different shirt colors. And he had a jiu-jitsu class that was taught by a Brazilian guy that he brought from Brazil. Or maybe the guy come here from Brazil for work, and then he linked up with Pink. So as a side job, he would teach jiu-jitsu classes. So that was my first black belt. That guy promoted me to blue belt and purple belt when I was there. And he was under Renato Tavares. That's how, well, his professor was in Brazil, and his professor was under Renato. So that's how the link came in.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. Like it's fun for me to like now with time pass. I actually witnessed like the whole getting linked up with Renato, and like I saw everything happening. You know, I saw Professor Pete getting to his black belts, his junior ranks, like all the stuff is like things that my guys they won't understand. Like I remember seeing a purple belt on the mats. I was like, we have a purple belt. That's crazy. Yeah, it was fun. Although we had a black belt though.
I remember very similar times for many years in Arkansas, like Caleb Plank, who's a first degree now. When he owned a school, he was a blue belt, and he was the only blue belt I knew. Like it was like whoa, a blue
Right.
belt, and there were 5 black belts in the whole state at that time. This would have been like 2006, but I know, I mean, I have high esteem and regard for Pete, and know that like in your area he is
Yeah, he was
grown
the one of
immensely.
the founding members of Jiu-Jitsu in town. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are other guys, but he's one of the main ones for sure. I mean, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. And such a nice guy too. Any interaction I've ever had with him has been super positive.
Oh
So
yeah, he's one of the things that Professor Pete has is like he grows with time. Like he's not, although he's like head of the association, he's never got stuck up to like, oh, I'm D1, you know, like he's continuously grow, man. His personality, if you met it back in the day and you talk to him now, they're completely two different persons. Like his grow is insane. Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, I look forward a lot to that. Like you're seeing somebody change for positive, man, is crazy. You know, it's like it takes a lot of you to grow. That's really cool.
and man, that's what you want. You want like a learning, growing mindset of
Right.
never having figured it out. You know, like I always get like when people are just so close-minded to a different way of thinking about anything, you know,
Right.
or but particularly you do see that in jiu-jitsu a lot. I feel like whether it's a certain type of submission or a certain gi and no gi, like you've seen so many debates, I'm sure, since you've been involved. I have over the years.
Right.
But ultimately I'm just like, hey man, I'll embrace it if it helps me learn and get better. I'm all about it.
Right. Right. Give it a try, man. See what's up. See what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get the change.
Man, I remember like probably, I mean, I don't know if we had met much before that, but when you had Jorge Valladares
But
come in,
yeah.
that time I was like, man, I really haven't been doing a lot of leg locks. I should go
Right.
to Omar's for the seminar, you know. But that was a
You know,
big
it's
sort of,
learning from Jorge was interesting, right? Because like I at the time, I mean, we didn't know about leg locks. I mean, we know what a heel hook was. We know what straight lock, toe like knee bars. We never had it put out like kind of systematically. Like you go like Ashigurami position. We didn't know what that was. Although he wasn't able to say, oh, you know, this is Ashigurami because it was kind of a trademark of Renzo Gracie. Like, so he called it like inside out, or like he had his own kind of thing that was working for him. But yeah, I mean, he's not nowadays. Go like looking back at those times, it's like, man, we were like clueless. Like I was completely clueless, and now it's like everything is like systematic. Like, you know, you get to this position, and then from this position you can switch to here, but you have to have these double controls. So like a lot of things that we thought about the leg locks as I let me grab your foot and crank it out, and maybe I can get a submission out of it. Now it's more like the submission is kind of the last thing. You're like all about like controlling the hips, controlling the knee, make sure you have double controls. Like everything is like systematic, you know. We big grow on that portion of that. Yeah, Jorge was cool, man. He kicked my ass so bad too.
man, I've kept up with him just a little bit over the last few months, and he appears to be doing extremely well. I'm going to, Clay Mayfield, he was going to do this time, but he was scheduled till tomorrow at 3. So
Okay.
they're on the same team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're
nice.
both on Pedigo submission fighting.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to talk with Clay and ask him if he's trained with him and what that's like rolling with him, because I assume that they get rolled with each other at camps and stuff when they have association stuff.
Well, I think it's crazy. I think he's still a blue belt or purple belt. I don't think he might be up, but I think he's still around there.
I think he's a
purple.
Yeah.
Okay. I know he like closed down his Facebook, so like that. If that's how I keep contact with people, is just through Facebook. I have my Instagram, but I don't even look. I mean, I have it there, used to have it, but I don't check that.
Same.
Man, I believe I did something cool on the early days. Like when you came in, I tried to get a hold of the people that I thought was gonna be the big names coming up before they were big, and I invited them in. I was like, man, like I see you at the lower levels, like killing it. Like I want to bring you in. So we got lucky enough to we got Jorge was one of them. We had Gianni, we had Mike Musuneshi, Roberto Jimenez, like all those guys. Like they came into the school when I think Roberto he came in. He was just a blue belt or just got his blue belt or something like that. Maybe even a green belt. Same for Mike. I think I was begging him to come down since he was like a purple or brown belt. But his school always got in the middle of getting him here. And when I got him, he was a black belt already, but he was before he won world championships and all that stuff. So it was cool for my students that met those guys, and like at those times they were not that famous, and now they completely blowed up. So like they feel like they made these guys, So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. How long have you been training and coaching now? Like what was kind of the evolution from when you opened and stuff?
Oh man, it's a personal growth. It's crazy. So I'm originally from Triton Fight Center. That's where I learned everything from. I went from white belt to black belt at Triton. When I was a brown belt, I had an opportunity to open up a school. Some guy had a working out gym, and a Lifetime gym opened up like a mile away from him. So he lost basically all his students. He couldn't pay his monthly fees anymore. So the landlord was a friend of mine, and he called me up. He's like, hey, I have this guy that has a gym. You want to take over the gym because he's not be able to pay my rent anymore. And I was like, well, I don't do workout, but I can open up a jiu-jitsu school maybe. So we kind of find a deal. I think I paid like $300 or $400 rent for the first year. So he allowed me to start from I think my savings account at the time, I was like maybe $1,000. I mean, I didn't have no money, zero money. And I opened up. He left some stuff in there. Whatever he left, I sold. And with what he sold, I bought the other stuff. Like I didn't have mats. My first mats were 2 layers of carpet foam, 1 layer of puzzle mats, and then a tarp on top. That was my first mats. And I got them for like $200. Somebody had a judo school at his house. He had the soft floor, the carpet padding, and all that stuff. And he was moving to a new house, and he didn't have that garage anymore. So he's like, yeah, dude, just give me $200 and it's yours. And that's how I opened up my school. That was in 2013. It was a complete accident. I wasn't planning on opening up. I remember the day that the guy called me to sign the contract. Mary Angel woke me up that morning with a pregnancy test. Hey, you know what? We're pregnant. So Baby O and the gym are like brothers. That's same age.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. And as a growing man, when I got my guys, everybody was a white belt, and I was a brown belt. I remember at that time I was starting to get on the losing side of the brown belts. Like I went from purple belt to brown belt, winning some tournaments. I was doing all right, decent. Man, when I got to the brown belt, I struggled. That brown belt would kick my butt so badly. So I was, and then I had my own school, and I was training with white belts, and my jiu-jitsu kind of went down, and I was little by little, just by teaching the techniques that I was basically I used them as my dummies to roll with, right? I taught them my best stuff so they know how to defend it. I remember my guys Nick, Hannah, and Corbin. They were the main guys. I remember teaching them trucking and burying balls at the first year at white belt. They probably didn't know how to do a kimura, but they know how to do a burying ball. Just because I need that, I need them to do that to me so I can counted and all that stuff. So like, yeah, I kind of forced myself into like growing. Now, my personal growth in jiu-jitsu, oh dude, exploded. I seriously grow my jiu-jitsu so much just because I had to like push myself to do it. Yeah.
And that's awesome. When did you get promoted to black belt? What year?
It was December of 2014. I want to say the 14th of December. So if this December will be it'll be 6 years.
Wow.
So possibly I might get my second degree this year.
Nice, man. Very nice. Yeah. Have you always competed throughout all belt levels, or when did you start getting involved?
Well, jiu-jitsu is funny. Jiu-jitsu humbles you, man. My first tournament was an in-house tournament that Pete did. I tried on a white belt. That was my first tournament. After that, I was like, oh, I need to compete more. So we started looking up, and I'm sure you remember these times. It's like the only tournaments they were like Nagas, and they were like in Dallas. So I competed traveled a lot to Dallas to compete on my white, blue, and mid purples. I used to go to Dallas to do like the Winter Wars. I believe that's the one the Machados used to do. Nagas and
Europa.
Yeah, those, yeah, those Europas, yeah.
Grapplers.
I never did a grappler's quest. Like I was supposed to go to Vegas for one, and I can't remember what happened, but I ended up not going to grappler's quest. But yeah, all those tournaments, that's where like what I used to go. And when I got my purple belt, Pete started competing at BJJF. And I normally at those smaller tournaments, I was doing all right. I was always like placing either first, second, or third. I was always placing. So we were like, well, at BJJF, let's do it. Pete started doing them. And I got a reality check when I started stepping into the IBJJF match, man. I don't know if it's the rule setting. I don't know if it's the atmosphere, how strict they are. Like, I don't know why, but like, man, I started IBJJF and I started getting my butt whipped, and that, obviously that pushes you to like train smarter, train better. But yeah, I've been always competing. But at IBJJF, I started competing in my purple belts.
Nice, yeah. And you've competed everywhere. Like, how many different countries have you competed in? Do you know?
Countries, I competed in France, Spain, Portugal, Japan. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it.
Nice. Very nice.
But that was my thing. Like I hate not being able to like do well. And for the longest time, man, I didn't do good. Like I lost a lot, and so the more that I lost, like the more that I wanted to compete. So I remember there was a year that like I probably competed like 13 or 14 times. So like even within the same month, I probably competed once or twice in different places. I try to stick with the IBJJF. I find it the most. I think that's where I struggle the most. So I try to go a lot to those. I remember when I got my black belt. That was one of my first things. I was like, I had to compete. I think my first match at black belt, the guy that I competed against, he was a third degree, so he has been a black belt for 9 years at least, and I had my black belt right at 10. So that guy's been a black belt longer than I was in jiu-jitsu. So yeah, it was interesting. It was a reality check too.
Yeah, and are you in the masters division? Yeah.
Now I am. Yeah. Now I normally compete in Master 2.
Okay. When did you move up?
Basically after my black belt. Like I did 3 years of adult black belt, and then they started doing the point system. And once the point system came in, I never was able to get my 50 points at the adult. I think the max that I got was like 40, and I went to one of the tournaments and I got out first round, and that was it. Like I was like, I kind of figured my age, my motivation, my training style wasn't a high level anymore. Like these new kids coming out, man, they're insane.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you see a lot more depth in like Master 2, like where you're going to be in there with third degree black belts and higher.
Yeah, the thing that happens at the master division is like you're gonna go with, and I'm gonna give you an example with Renato since he's my association. So you have Renato Tavares from Renato Tavares Association, and you get the head of the associations, right? And it's very intimidating. You go there and it's like, oh crap, like I have guys that did extremely good at the adult levels when they were on the adult, and now they're as good as master, probably even better. But there is a difference. On the smaller, on the adult side, there is a little bit of a spaz with good technique. On the master division, there is not that much as a spaz. It's a slower kind of jiu-jitsu. And I got used to it. So like I think that's the biggest difference. Like when you go into a master tournament, is extremely technical, but not so much of movement. Like there is not a lot of like crazy move. So it's just like very dominant matches. Yeah, it's cool though. I mean, it's good learning, and everybody's friendly.
Do you have any idea how many total tournaments you've done? Have you like kept count or anything?
Oh, no idea, man. I could easily say no less than 10 a year. And I'm talking about strictly IBJJF. Like I do when they come to town or like the closest town, I do AGF. Like I support a tournament like crazy. I think they're the next big thing, the AGFs. So like every time there is an AGF, they allow black belts to compete for free. And if there is somebody with a 20-pound difference, I'll jump in. Like I'll just give another black belt a roll, or they can give me a roll. But no, I definitely more than 10 a year, or 10 is the minimum.
Nice. Yeah, I had Carlino was on the podcast yesterday.
What did he say, man? He's a cool dude. He's smart, dude.
Man, we had a great talk. We just kind of talked about early AGF and kind of the history and growth and like his approach to the business, like his sort of mindset behind some of the things that is his flair, that is like what he brings to the table with customer service. And
that's what I was about to say. I think that's he's attacking the right side of the tournament, right? So like IBJJF, you have an issue, you're limited to talking to a computer, because you send an email and you might get an auto response, and that's what you get. AGF on the other side, man, they're like so approachable. Like I have like the minimal stupid issue and I'll just say and text Carlino, and he'll respond, man. Like he's not only with me because I'm Omar and black belt, no, like he'll respond to everybody, and like everybody has feel that approach. So I think on that aspect, it's absolutely that. I mean, I done a couple other tournaments, and I think AGF is at the very top, and I think it's gonna go even better after we come back.
Yeah, I agree, man. That's and he's working on a lot of really cool stuff during the little downturn that is ultimately going to make, I think, things better, because it'll just be less stuff. Like he'll be able to do more customer service because he's sending, he is going to be sending fewer emails. I think like he's going to have things like mapped out to where you can kind of have everything lined out before you contact them. I deal with this with college students. They'll hit me up and be like, hey, I have a problem with the week 7 discussion board. And I'm like,
well, week 1, dude.
What class you in? I teach 6, and it's like 150 students total. And they'll be like, well, I'm in U.S. history. And I'm like, I got 3 sections of that.
One.
So, but yeah, I mean, just that back and forth of like, think about a white belt registering for a tournament. You haven't even really been involved with him very much yet. And then he has to go 6 emails deep with them just to figure out what's up, That's the sort of stuff I think that he's going to be refining to where it's seemed like it would be something you fill out ahead of time. Let him know all that stuff. So it's
kind of sort out where he goes. Yeah, that's good, man. He's a smart dude, man. Like I had conversations about other stuff not related to jiu-jitsu, and he's a smart dude. He knows how to do his stuff. Yeah. And then you get Brandon Quick, which is also a smart dude on different area. It's like they're opposite, but they complement each other, man. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to have Brandon on and talk with him just so I can get the other piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, it's I love how they're completely like they're not each end, right? And like then you come in the middle and then like you get both sides. Yeah, it's a cool one.
Yeah. Well, man, outside of competing, kind of all over, I know that you've been all over the U.S., competed here and there, and you've competed in different countries, but you like travel a lot too, man. Where are some of the places you've been?
Man, so my thing is, and everything goes back to jiu-jitsu, right? Like although it's not jiu-jitsu related, my way of view things are jiu-jitsu style. I every year I do a end of the year resolution thing, like what I want to get for next year, right? So and I do it on my phone, on the yellow pad on the iPhone, and I just write down like a couple things that I want to do. And one of the things for a long time, it was like, go out of the country, right? And I keep postponing because there's something more important ahead of us, ahead of that. So I was like, you know what? For next, and that was in 2018. For 2018, my resolution for 2019 is to hit 20 cities. Like I didn't want to call them countries because it was a lot, like a lot of money involved in there. But I'm gonna go to 20 cities and just freaking like no other plan, no other resolution is just go and travel to 20 cities. And when I say me, I'm talking about me, my wife, and baby Omar, right? So Mary Angel and I, like we're one person. So how can I achieve going everywhere that I want to go with my family? It's a lot of money involved in there, and like time that I had to take from my job. So I started applying for airlines. I started like applying, and I finally got hired by American Airlines. So American Airlines do a cool thing where like you can be a part-time and get flying benefits. So you're allowed to travel everywhere. So I got the job. I told Maria, well, you know what, get ready. We this year is like, I did that I got hired the end of December. So like my first day of the job was December 31st. That's my first day at the job. And the second that I got out of training camp with American, I was in Dallas taking my training. I sent Mary Angel to New York and Baby O, and I just met him in New York for New Year's.
Nice.
Yeah. So we went, after that, after that, the plan was going somewhere every weekend. Okay. So we will travel Friday and then be back on Sunday. And then I started extending it. Like when it's a international trip, we'll leave on Thursday or Wednesday night. And then we have to be back on Sundays to teach Monday classes. So it's like, sometimes we're in Japan 2 days. So it takes a full day to go down there. Then we go to Japan and stay for a day and a half. And then we have to take another one full day, come back. Being an employee for an airline, when it's international, you pay only the taxes. And that depends on different countries. So like for me to go from here to Japan, I believe it cost me $45 per person.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah. So I don't pay anything on the way from US to Japan. I pay from Japan, exiting it out to the US. So that's the only tax. And nationally, I fly for free. So I can basically go everywhere. The downside to this is you cannot plan it. So you basically taking a free seat. So sometimes we have the plan to go somewhere and we get to the airport and that flight gets full and we cannot go there anymore. So example, we were supposed to go to Egypt. We wanted to go see the pyramids. Like, let's go to Egypt. So we got to Dallas, and the flight before to Egypt got canceled. Something happened, so all the people moved into my flight, and all the flights were taken. Yeah. So we're at the airport. We're like, okay, now what? So where is in the Middle East that we can go? Dubai was open, so let's go to Dubai. So we got a flight. We got the next open seat and just went to Dubai. Yeah, so we don't get to choose where we go. I had a bad experience in planning things. We were supposed to teach a seminar in Mexico to my friend's Tito school, and for whatever reason that weekend, it was a busy weekend to go to Mexico, and I couldn't. Like, man, I tried different cities, tried to like handle it around. I couldn't get it out. I couldn't make it to Mexico on that time. So we had to skip. So we don't get to plan. We get options. So we say, okay, we're going to Europe. So we have option one, that's where we want to go, and we contact. That's another thing. We prefer to go on the cheap side, meaning like we're not trying to spend too much money on hotels, too much money. If we have a friend there, we try to couch surf. Okay, so everywhere that I go, I either know somebody or got a really good deal on hotels and stuff, so we can save us some money. So yeah, I call my friends, be like, hey, you know what? I might go to Paris this weekend, and I get to Dallas because that's our hub. And then once we get there, like I'm texting away, it's not gonna happen. We're going to option number 2. So it's been fun. So to come back, we went to in 1 year we went to Portugal, Japan 2 times, Paris once, Madrid 3 times, Lisbon, Frankfurt, Germany, Dubai, Ireland, Colombia. We went to Medellin. What else? Yeah, Paris, I said it. And even with it, so we get, let's say an example, Madrid. We get to Madrid and there is a town within an hour away. We'll take a taxi or get a car and just go to the other town so we can say we visited.
Did you hit 20 cities?
Oh yeah, we hit 20 cities before the end of the year. Yeah, we basically were doing 1 trip a week. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the right thing to do.
Yeah,
so,
man, that's super cool.
So the reason why, like my schedule, like we talk about, I was supposed to be on the podcast here in the morning, and my schedule is all screwed up. So my regular day, I wake up around 11ish on a regular days, right? When I'm not not right now with the whole coronavirus, like on my regular days. So I wake up around 11, go teach my noon classes, come back, take another nap, go teach my night classes. And right after I finish my class, I have to go run to work, and I work from 8:30 to 4 in the morning, depending on the day. So sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, but it's an overnight work. Now that I'm on the COVID-19, I'm still having that schedule. So sometimes I wake up at 2. So I'll be awake at 4 in the morning, and I'll be sleeping at noon. So yeah, that's why my whole schedule is all screwed up.
Keeping your it's been weird for me too. I've been getting up early, been exercising. I'm teaching 5 college classes, but it's all online. So I do it from right here, right where I'm sitting.
Whenever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Well, man.
So yeah, man.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. That was just telling about the whole trip. What I was going to leave you with a positive message. So my whole experience with the whole traveling, right? So a lot of times in life we put too many wants, you know, and we kind of let it happen, be like, oh, you know, I want to travel out of the country, but there is no priority to that. Once I made traveling my priority, I don't only did one. I wanted to go from Earth to the moon, right? And maybe I cannot achieve the moon, but I can go halfway through. That's what I was thinking, right? So 2019 happened. I achieved my goal of traveling, and I was like, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go for a bigger thing. I want to make $1 million. And I was talking to a friend on a podcast, and he's like, man, how are you gonna make $1 million in 1 year? I was like, I don't know, man. Give me an idea how I'm gonna do it. I had to study it. He's like, man, I think the only way is in the stock market. And I was like, all right, stock market. So I started studying the stock market. Now I believe I have another profession. Like obviously I'm a new guy, but I'm doing day trading, and so far it's working out. I lost a lot of money because of the whole. I was doing a YOLO kind of thing, like where like all in or all out kind of sort of thing, and it hit me on the way down. And I'm paying the price now, but man, my learning from it is crazy. So whatever it is, whoever is watching, whatever it is that you wanted to do, things might happen to you, but you have to help yourself, you know, make it a priority, work for it, like do whatever you can to achieve that one thing. I mean, before I was like, I want a little bit of this, I want a little bit of that, I want a little bit of this, you know, kind of to like be halfway. Now it's like, I want something, I'm like tunnel focus, like only one thing.
Yeah, you have to be in that learning mindset. That was one thing I did kind of want to chat with you about because man, I just follow you on Facebook and see you post like, stop like multiple screens with the market layout. But man, have you ever read any of or listened to any of the Rich Dad Poor Dad series?
Yes, that's that's a book that was recommended to me. So I don't read.
The first one today.
You did?
Yeah.
I don't read, man. Like for me, reading, like, I don't know if it's how my brain works or whatever, but if I read, the letters start flying around. I get distracted. I start thinking about something else. So I do the audiobooks now.
Me too.
Man, audiobooks changed my life. Yeah.
Mine too, man. I told Cora, because I've done 42 audiobooks this year, and I told Cora that I never knew I liked books.
Right. Same here.
So it has opened up a whole other, it's not something if I was going to read a book, and I do read every day, I kind of have to with what I do, but, right. It's not anything I ever look forward to. It's just something I do. It's kind of like a requirement. But listening to audiobooks, man, I love it. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been fun for me. That's a way to learn. Man, and the other thing, like me, is like in jiu-jitsu, right? Like I everything that I do, I look at in jiu-jitsu. Like if I want to get good at arm bars, I'm gonna have to do 1,000,000 arm bars, right? Some of them are not gonna work, some of them will work, but you just have to keep trying them, right? So that's what I'm going for. I'm on in this goal of making, and I just put a figure there, right? Just because, but for me, it's not so much about getting to the figure; it's getting all that learning experience in the way. And man, I learned so much. It's been fun.
Yeah. Well, man, I've learned just kind of following you on Facebook, and have learned jiu-jitsu from watching you on Facebook and having you in for a seminar. So man, keep doing what you're doing. Unfortunately, I got to wrap up. Cora has to go do a Zoom class, and we figured this out the wrong way. So I've been using this for podcasts, but you can't do two at once.
Right.
So like the little kids, like the 3 to 4 year olds, will be hopping on this Zoom here in a minute if we're not careful.
Okay. All right.
I appreciate your time, Omar. It's always
nice talking to you, brother.
All right, man.
Same, man.
Thank you.
See you later, brother. Bye, guys.